How are you?
219, and we've got Lauren Sluter with the Community Life Bridge.
Thank you for having me today. I really appreciate it. I know some of y'all's faces, but not everyone, so I would love to, after the meeting, get to find out who all of you are. Appreciate your service. So Community Life Bridge is a 501c3 nonprofit. Our offices are located in Hendersonville, but we serve senior adults over age 60 with a ride program. It's a volunteer-driven, assisted door-to-door ride program for seniors over 60 who no longer drive. So our volunteers, wonderful, amazing community members. A lot of them are recruited through Rotary clubs and community gatherings and church groups and things like that. And so what we do is we pair these wonderful, trained, vetted, caring volunteers, and they use their own cars to transport our riders. And our riders can be anybody, and it's not income-based or anything like that. It can be anybody who no longer drives over the age of 60 and requires a little bit of extra help getting in and out of a car. Think of it as Uber for seniors, but we cut out the technology, and it's just a good old-fashioned phone call. You talk to one of our wonderful office ladies, they schedule you a ride, and the friendly volunteer shows up. So we are able to provide that service for residents of Hendersonville, Gallatin, Portland, and the Goodlettsville, the Sumner side of part of Goodlettsville. So we're dedicated to Sumner County, and we're trying to eventually reach the whole county. We launched in 2019, and then obviously in 2020 we experienced a little bit of a disruption, but we grew the program. During the pandemic, it doubled. And so over the last 4.5 years, we've driven over 75,000 miles, and we serve about 150 seniors right now, with about 75 volunteers throughout the county. We do a lot of fundraising things in the community. When we began, we were funded primarily by a large grant, a government grant that comes down through Nashville and PA, and filters to programs like ours that help with transportation, mobility management services within Middle Tennessee. So we started off with quite a bit of that funding. We all know what happens with that. The pie gets smaller, and so as we've grown, we understand the need to diversify our funding sources. So while we're doing a lot of, fundraising that nonprofits do throughout the community, trying to make friends and fans, we also have been seeking to diversify through applying for different types of grants, and part of that is, an attempt to work with our local governments with funding. We have received funding from the City of Portland, the City of Gallatin, and the City of Hendersonville. So they're all partners in our work and what we do. Portland actually had its own program that was started by the former mayor up there. And when we came along, they said, you guys are able to do what we're doing better, and so we're gonna turn the program over to you. And they gave us the funds that were left over so we could serve Portland riders. We're audited every year. We're a really solid organization that provides a really good service for the constituents in this county.
How long have you been involved?
Me?
Yes.
I was the first executive director, first employee hired in January 2019.
Okay.
What a first year.
I know. It was adventurous.
And Miss Ames, you're involved somehow here?
And for boss, sort of. A little bit. Shelley, I just noticed you sitting there. Oh, I'm here. I've been waiting for you. I did not notice that was you. Yes, this is my board chair, Shelley Ames.
Okay.
I was very focused on the players in the room, so I did not see her there. And I'm sure she would love to answer any questions about our board. If you did.
So, have you been the board chair since 19? Or?
I came on as board chair in 2022, and I'll finish my term in December 1st, January. So And it's been a blessing to watch this organization grow and to help fulfill the needs of our population with transportation. It's just such a, now that I am on that side of giving rides to Ghana, being able to get where you need to go, when you need to be there, so this has been just a joy watching it grow. The Lord is awesome, wonderful leadership, and is so innovative in approaching the needs of our population and our seniors, so it's wonderful.
Okay. So do these rights, so is it,
That's right here.
do I?
How about that?
No, I saw that, but like, so if someone needs a ride for like a doctor's appointment, so does the driver just hang out while they're there?
That's a good question.
I mean, is that,
So we offer with our membership different levels of service in order to accommodate people's needs and preferences. And so some of our riders, when they sign up, say, I don't need anyone helping me do anything. I just need a ride to get here and there. And that's what we offer them. Other riders, you know, I'm just thinking on the other end of the spectrum, we have one of our early riders who passed away during COVID, that spoke at our first fundraiser about how this program had changed her life. She started to go blind at 60, and eventually her family stopped being able to take her to the grocery store and out to lunch and those kind of things. She was one of our very first riders, and for that year that she rode with us, we took her to Dollar General and helped her read labels, walked her back into her house, and put her groceries away for her. So that is the other end of the spectrum, the service that we offer. We're not a home care company. We don't offer non-medical home care services or anything like that. It's a transportation program, but it's got a lot of heart. The relationships built between the riders and drivers are super valuable. And I think 60–65% of our drivers are over 60. So it's really a peer-to-peer friendship-making endeavor.
but if
And they can go anywhere they want, Terry. They can go to the hair salon, their doctor's appointments, wherever they'd like to go.
So they go to the hair
We've gone
salon.
buy lottery tickets before.
So if they go, let's leave the hair salon,
Yes.
does the driver just, if the hair salon takes an hour or something, the driver just hangs out or does what, or just comes back?
Yep.
Wow.
So they'll have a little card when you get picked up as a rider, you get a little card, and we provide those. And so it'll have the driver's name and phone number on it, and then they'll just pick it up and call them when they're done. And we just ask our drivers to stay within 5 to 10 minutes and just tweet on in.
Okay.
How many volunteers do you have? I'm sorry, I was in the restroom for a
No,
moment.
you're good. About 75 right now.
Oh, wow, that's great.
And how many rides do you average a day or a week, or what is your data?
So we average 45 rides a week right
A
now.
week.
And what's the cost to the rider?
Great question. The membership fee is $25 a year, and the rides are $6 for a round-trip ride. Riders can go to 2 different stops during a 3-hour time period for that ride. So a typical ride would be, you know, Mrs. Johnson has a 9 a.m. appointment at Hendersonville Medical Center, and then she wants to go to Dollar General and get her groceries after. So that would be scheduled through our office a week in advance, and our volunteer would pick her up, and then she'd be charged $6 for that round-trip ride. And when our membership, just to go back, when we go and meet with every rider in their home when they join our program. So it's a lot of interaction and having eyes on people. I started off kind of working with seniors, my volunteer for Meals on Wheels, and the impact of, I might be the only person that has interacted, you know, today with this person that I'm serving. It really carries over. And then the impact of spending 3 hours where this volunteer is focused one-on-one on this person, it's a lot more than a ride. Yes.
Is there a distance, like if they have an appointment in Nashville or anything like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we only drive within Sumner County.
Okay.
We would love to have the volunteer base and ability to drive into Nashville. We'd love to be able to do it on weekends and all those things. Our program was modeled after similar programs, and we've kind of started and built our capacity with our current service. but we'd love to expand it.
Sure.
Just general curiosity, where do your corporate contributions come from?
Corporate contributions? Well, we have not had a lot of corporate contributions. Those are sponsors of events and things. Mostly, we are kicking off today, and I apologize that I was a couple minutes late. I actually thought I was supposed to be here at 2:30 in my head, but as I walked in the door and Don said they're looking for you, I realized it was 2:15, so I apologize. But today, we kicked off Share the Love with Subaru of Gallatin, and this is our first corporate partnership. So we've been identified as their hometown charity for the Share the Love event the next 6 weeks. We're there giving back, and we're hopefully, making some new friends and fans. It's just a very big deal for a smaller organization to be honored in that way. So, again, trying to diversify our funding sources and have more partners in our work.
It may have been where you're going, but on this sheet, on the budget overview sheet,
I did not bring that with me.
of the total
Look at it.
of the total revenue of 310, there's 251 of corporate contributions. So I think that's
251 of grant. Sorry, we need a line here. 251
Right.
is grant.
you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It reads at an angle then.
It does. I got you. All right. So that makes more sense.
Does that make more sense?
It does.
Good.
So did the volunteers, get a mileage reimbursement, or is that?
They can request that.
They must not request it, because your
You know,
allocation is very low for it.
Yes. We've seen very, very few volunteers that request that. We offer it, and they're able to quarterly be reimbursed. And, some drivers will say, man, this quarter, I really drove a lot, and it really put a lot of wear and tear in my car. I'm going to request for this quarter, but that doesn't mean they always do.
Sure.
Most of our volunteers.
So then is there a deficit then in how much the rider pays for their membership plus the $6 round trip? Is there a deficit there if somebody does submit a mileage request?
So
Because it's 65.5 cents this year per mile.
The volunteer
IRS.
rate is significantly lower. The
Oh, it is?
volunteer rate
Okay.
is 1.4 cents.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so that makes a bit of a difference there.
Okay, yeah, that is a
The
big
staff,
difference.
yeah, but I want to go back to what you said right before. I'm having a hard time remembering what you said.
No, I was just wondering about I was kind of piggybacking off what he said about the reimbursement because, so if there's if the driver says, hey, I'm driving a lot, I need a reimbursement, mileage reimbursement, then does that $25 a year plus $6 round trip fee cover that mileage? Okay.
Yes.
So there will be a deficit there usually.
So the $25 a year and the $6 round trip, it doesn't cover much at all.
Yeah.
That's the rider registration and rider fees that you see in our budget. That's the program income. This program is not designed to be self-supporting in that way. Really, the fees are a sense of buy-in and ownership for the members. This is a program that I am a part of, that I have paid for. And it gives a sense of partnership between the organization and the riders. But it's not a self-funding program. So yes, it's quite a deficit.
Okay.
When you really calculate the cost of what we as an organization spend on getting a ride versus what, rides cost.
Do you have a typical example of that? Like if Ms. Jones needs to go to the beauty salon at 2 o'clock and somebody comes and picks her up and then takes her back home, or takes her to Dollar General after and goes home. Do you have any kind of study that says this is how much she paid for her membership, and then this driver asked for a reimbursement of mileage? Is there a way to kind of reconcile the two so you know what it's costing the organization?
For the rides that are requesting reimbursement?
Right.
Is that what you're
Yeah.
asking? It's not something I had considered before.
Okay.
We have so few that request reimbursement, but
Okay.
that would be interesting math to do.
So I hate to be the bad guy in the room, but we're done. So,
Okay.
but thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Absolutely,
All right.
absolutely. All of you.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Tell me your name.
Mike.
Mike.
Yeah, Brian.
All right. So, Monhaven, I'm assuming you are with Monhaven, okay.
Cheryl Suchik, our executive director. We have no handout for everybody.
If you all want to sit down at the head of the table over there. Yes, ma'am.
Believe me, the first thing I struggle.
I already got in trouble for being mean to the
Because
senator
the-
yesterday.
Because the first thing is it's three of them.
And the meeting is being videoed and audio recorded, so as you all start off, just make sure you tell us what your names are, and then you can go into your presentation material. All right.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Strichick. I'm the Executive Director at Monhaven Arts and Cultural Center in Hendersonville. Thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate it. We all appreciate it at our organization. We're going to talk about the Between the Lines Healing Arts program that we do for veterans. And it's the MAC's Between the Lines Arts program has a mission to promote mental and emotional wellness for U.S. military veterans through participation in expressive arts. We're focused on mental and emotional wellness because an average of 22 veterans a day die by suicide in the U.S. That's over 8,000 veterans a year taking their own lives. This is a crisis of hopelessness that is a result of deeply buried and unprocessed trauma and grief that can lead to overwhelming depression, isolation, and disconnection. At the MAC, we're doing what we can to help our veterans, and that is through the creative process. Our expressive arts programs are designed to encourage growth and self-awareness, empowerment through self-expression, and hope and community building among true peers, not just with other veterans, but other veterans who have also experienced a dire level of depression and hopelessness. This is not a sip and paint class or a class to make a beautiful oil painting to hang above your sofa. Our healing arts projects are designed to help veterans dig into those dark places and to release what they have been carrying so they are with them around so they can have light of hope. Our facilitators engage veterans in a variety of expressive exercises, from painting and drawing what is going on in their inner environment to building a garden or a pond to enhance their external living environment. So two things happen in the healing arts groups. When the individual draws, paints, or sculpts what is really going on inside their mind and their hearts, the images they choose to create give them a picture in front of their eyes to start talking about. They can begin to give language to what didn't have words before, and they can speak about their personal stories, often for the first time. The second thing that happens is the veterans sharing their stories among true peers build trust with one another that leads to vulnerable sharing and supportive community building. They do not meet each other with pity or disgust. They instead meet each other with authentic empathy, where they feel seen, heard, and understood, and this is life-giving. As we work to promote healing, share veteran stories, and build positive community, we strive to recognize and celebrate each individual's powerful resilience and their continued journey of recovery. That is a story of hope, and that is what Between the Lines Healing Arts is all about. Our program at the MAC has shown highly effective, positive results among our current community partners, which include the Veterans Recovery Center in Murfreesboro, Hope and Healing and Helen Glade Retreat, and Sumner County Veterans Home in Gallatin. We're always seeking new community partners to reach more veterans, and we want to start by expanding in Sumner County. We've learned that veterans who struggle the most with PTSD, depression, anxiety, and pain on a variety of levels have a tendency to isolate, so we need to meet them where they are. That means traveling to veterans housing, VFWs, American Legions, and veteran service organizations. We have 2 healing arts facilitators who are military veterans and have a great passion for individual healing and positive community building among our veterans. Having facilitators who connect to veterans through personal experience and shared language allows us to build impactful healing relationships with the veterans we serve. All that we offer to veterans is free, so we rely solely on foundations, private donations to make our healing arts programs possible. That's basically what we do.
And what is your name, sir?
I'm sorry, my name is John Pitcher. I am the Chief Operating Officer at Monhaven Arts and Cultural Center.
Okay. Thank you.
And
So give me a little bit of background. So So we are a subcommittee of our budget committee, and I understand that you all were at our budget committee earlier this week. I hadn't had a chance to review that video, but so give me some background of how the request came about. I know Mr. Isbell was involved, but who contacted who? How did that come about to even bring forth the request for the $40,000?
Well, we have a fundraiser every year that is for our veterans. We have a Veterans Arts program, a very active one in Monhaven, and our big fundraiser is about 250 to 300 people with the barbecue we do yearly.
Okay.
A number of different people throughout Middle Tennessee attend that. It's heavily funded by Charlie Daniels, Journey Home Project, different people. We had John Isbell was there, some of the other commission members who, I can't remember everyone's name. And I was approached at the time and told that there were some funds possibly available that we could look at. You guys are kind of a pass-through for a grant, I believe, if that's the correct wording or however it is.
Yeah, we'll have to figure all that stuff out. I just wanted to figure out.
That's exactly why we're here, and they know the importance of what we're working on and the things that we're doing that you guys, that we might be able to work with you folks on the grant.
Okay. So,
Who approached you?
The first person that ever said anything to me was John Isbell at the event that night, after the speakers and everything.
and some of these questions, just trying to figure out the background. So was that event like recently, or was that?
It was this last summer. We have a yearly event every
Okay.
year. It's during our veterans fundraiser.
Okay. So like in June or July, something like that?
That was in August.
August, sorry.
Oh, in August.
So the healing project, is that something that you've done before, or?
Oh, yes, sir. We started it in 2019. 18, it was the first. It started,
Okay.
So we've been doing it for a number of years now.
What would you do with this money?
Well, to be really frank with you, what we've learned in really working with the veterans over the last couple of years, because so many of them don't even leave where they are. And we have realized that because of their isolation, one of the most important things that we can do is go to them. We're working on getting more veterans to Monhaven, even for the healing arts classes there. But we know that we can really accommodate by going to them. If we had what we call a mobile classroom, then like our veterans, Val Adams and Joe James who do, and Drew, they could go and do the metalworks and the ceramics, the things. Now, the men and women, the veterans, they do everything from mask making to, it's very different than a regular painting class. It's much more in-depth, something you may see maybe looks more childlike. But they also like to get involved, like the Veterans Recovery Center has just brought us on for an additional class. So where the veterans who go through all our healing art process, a lot of them want to keep doing art. Well, they've gone through a lot of the healing arts, but they want to keep doing art. It's still very important to them. They're still able to express themselves. So that takes on a little different look. So there's so many different things we do. So like Val is going out there now on Tuesdays, and he's doing metalwork with them. Well, if we had a mobile classroom, that's what we would really, one of the most, yeah, we just stuck that in there to give you an idea. That's the Dixon in Memphis, yeah. It's just an idea. That's a little bit little. We might, I said that when I looked at it, so ours might be a little bit longer. But so we could carry everything in there that they would need. Like he could do the big tent. And like, let's say that we're in Ridgetop, we start a new program in Ridgetop in January, where they could take that van, open up the big tent. It doesn't matter, he has to meet them where they are. He could put that big tent up out of the van and they could work right there. So it's kind of important if we could get to them, which we're more than willing to do. We love going to where they are. They don't have to come to us. So we cover 3 counties right now.
So help me out on the 30,000, how many Sumner County residents are served? It's 30,000.
Well, there's 12,000 active, there's 12,000 veterans in Sumner County.
Okay.
There's 12,000 veterans in Sumner County.
So what's the 30,000?
I don't know what we're looking at now.
It's just
She
some
probably doesn't
application.
have a copy of it.
But
Okay.
I don't, What are we looking at?
On the application.
On the application. It says how many Sumner County residents are served. It says 30,000.
I think that's,
Like,
speaking
including
about,
Sumner and
that's,
Rutherford.
not just, we do a lot of different kinds of outreach programs,
Oh, yeah.
arts education outreach to underserved youth and families. We go to places like Children of People, Grace Place, so I think that those numbers are included in addition to our veterans.
So, now let me,
The veterans are, what we handed out are just our veterans.
Yeah, we do.
30,000 for everybody.
Between the lines is the Veterans Healing Art
So
Program.
that's what this budget is related to.
Yes,
That's for
we
the
do
military.
healing arts
That's all we're
for,
talking about.
Leadso Academy, the boys over there, we do the healing arts for Grace Place, but that's not between the lines. That's not in this at all.
So is this, the discussion you have with Mr. Isabel is concerning the between the lines only?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay,
That's all we're talking about.
okay.
How many staff will that, it says staff salary, 62,400, how many staff members would that be for between the lines?
Well, if we're looking at the current salaries right now, that's that's our director of the healing arts and 2 facilitators.
Okay.
And this is our operating budget.
I hear you.
And,
That's
you
right.
know, which is paid for through a wide variety of
No doubt.
stuff. We're looking here for one-time only funding, just to help expand the program.
Yes.
So-
Can you maybe expand on that part, because I'm looking at 2 different here. It looks like the one is the current that's in place, and one is your projected for the next year.
No, actually, it's not. This is our annual, the amount of money in our budget that we allocate for between the lines healing arts is approximately, at least in this year, $97,000. The $110,000 is actually above and beyond just ordinary operating money that we would like to have in order to expand the program so that we can really double the reach of the organization, just to meet the need. So most of this is one-time only purchases. For instance, having a van or the portable building equipment, and kiln and welding tools.
So this year, you have allocated $97,000 in expenses per this overall operating budget.
Right.
Yes.
And you want to up that to $110,000 so you can expand?
You want
That's a capital
additional one.
budget.
An additional
That's a capital budget. That's not an additional $100,000.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So there's a 40.
You only have to buy the van one
One
time,
time, yeah.
or the
Okay.
building, the field temp, the kiln.
Yeah, these things are just in it, just for this.
So of the 12,000 veterans, how many did you say you're serving currently?
We do, 5,000, well, we have 2,500 participants now. It was in this calendar year, this year, 23.
Have you already secured, on the expansion capital budget, have you already secured the federal, state, foundation support and donations, the other 70,000 of the 110?
That's, funding from the NEA, from Tennessee Arts Commission, as well as major support from Memorial Foundation.
And the Journey Home.
What is the Memorial Foundation? That's the fourth
Memorial
time it's been,
They're here
I'm sure I know.
Wonderful.
That was the sale of the old Memorial Hospital in Madison, and they came up here and they're located there by, is it Discount Tire?
Yeah, right by Holiday Inn.
And
It used to be, Bill Ferrer was the president, for founding president for a number of years.
So, okay, go ahead.
I should say, so I'm reviewing your overall operating budget. You actually budgeted for a huge expansion overall across all your programs, because it looks like your gross profit from last year was $539,000, and you budgeted for $873,000 this year,
That's for this year.
That's for this one.
with an increase of, you're more than doubling your salaries from last year, so are you adding additional staff?
Yeah. We've been growing over the last several years by an average of about 24 to 26% a year, and that's based on income coming in.
We typically do startup funding for organizations, and we deal with things, like, and I know this got here by default, but we deal with things like senior citizens, home safe, crisis organizations like yours, but, we usually do startup funding for anyone that comes at $2,500. What would that do for you?
We love any funding anyone gives us. We want to give to have it. I mean, anything is appreciated. We run our agency extremely well. We have three-pronged approach to how we bring our money in. Of course, we have earned income through our educational, arts education. We have our corporate sponsors, private donors, memberships, and then, of course, we have grants, state and federal. This program will be put in place. We love the idea that it would be something that came from the county of Sumner that, you know, we felt like it would be wonderful backing and a great stamp of credibility. So I was really looking forward and thought it was a great idea the moment it was mentioned to me. If you guys are comfortable with it and feel good about it, we couldn't be more thankful if you give us $500 or $50,000. We'll do our program. Our program will be successful. It will be successful no matter what. I would just love for it to be easy and have it from you guys.
I have talked to you before.
You have, yeah. We served on a panel together.
Right,
Yeah.
and I have every thought in the world that this will happen regardless of anything here.
It just gives a special thing for it to come. You know how that goes, guys.
Right.
It just helps on that
Yeah,
line.
I mean, a little bit of it is the background of
I appreciate that very much.
a lot of the questions sort of surround just the process of our nonprofit allocation versus, you know, the $40,000 is a part of a completely separate tribal grant was outside of this committee's scope. And so the budget committee passed it over to us, so we're just trying to figure out what makes the most sense, right?
Totally.
I mean, I'll speak for myself. I think everyone probably, what you're offering here is great. It's a great thing to offer. We're just trying to grasp where it all fits within the scope of this committee versus a broader budget committee or commission funding standpoint. So I think that's probably where the decision making is going to have to fall. So, anyone have any other questions though for them? Or we can let them head out and.
Well, let us know if there's anything else we can let you
absolutely.
guys know.
Appreciate
Otherwise, we
your,
really
thank you.
appreciate your
Very
time
generous.
very much.
Thank you so
And,
much.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you for what
you.
you're doing.
And you guys come and see us at Mon Haven. We have some wonderful openings happen.
All right.
This weekend, R.J. McDonald, Santa's, the Magic of Santa will be opening Saturday night. It'll be really spectacular. So you guys, if you're free, stop by.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. All right, so that concludes our presentation, folks. So I'd like to, does anyone need a quick break, or y'all want to go ahead and move forward? Okay. So let's move forward. So, if my numbers are right, I've been trying to keep track. Let's separate, let's keep them on Haven on a completely different discussion for now. The full commission allotted $105,000 maximum. Again, just as a reminder, we don't have to spend all of that, or we don't have to allocate all of that, but that is the maximum amount. If you look at all of the requests that came in, if my numbers are correct, $121,500 is what I'm at from that standpoint. That includes everyone's request without any, adjustments. So I have a list of them. They're not necessarily in the same order on the agenda because some of them are copied and pasted from last year, but Dylan ruined my spreadsheet, but no, he didn't. So my thinking is let's go down the list and sort of get some ideas, hear some thoughts from folks. You know, to start, I'll go down the agenda list. So from Community Child Care Service, they did have a late request, but their last year actuals is $5,000. They requested the same $5,000. So at least to start off, I'm proposing, or in my recommendation column on the little file, is to accept the $5,000 or approve the $5,000. Let's go down item by item, and then we'll see if.
We can go back and advocate for more on
Correct.
various ones.
Correct. Okay.
Or less.
Or yeah, more or less. So Gallatin, their actuals were $5,000. They've requested $5,000. This is Gallatin Daycare, and I'm currently have them recommended at $5,000. UT Extension, Sumner County CASA. Again, actuals $5,000, request $5,000, recommending $5,000. UT Extension 4-H, they were actuals $2,500, they're requesting $2,500. I'm having my recommendation $2,500. Gallatin Senior Citizens, they actuals were $14,000, they requested $16,500. I have in my recommendation it's $14,000, maintaining their amount. Anyone have any, right now, any?
Wait, are we advocating, or are we?
Well, right now.
Because I've already got a difference from what you had already said.
Okay. Well, let's,
Does everybody already have what they had wrote down what everyone had last year? I went down the list when we were going through them before and wrote what they got last year.
okay, yeah, correct.
So,
Do you want me to go through that?
I'm
Whatever
good
makes
with-
most sense.
No, I'm good with that. I'm good
Okay.
with what they had. If we want to just, to ask,
Mhm.
what do you want to give? You know what I mean? It's kind of
So let's back up. Let's back up then, Mr. Lambert. Going back up the list, what do you have?
The only difference I have so far, besides Gallatin, is increasing Sumner County CASA over their request.
I think I would like to, for me personally, I don't know how you all feel, I feel like there's a couple on here that maybe should be considered for less as a whole, and that we could maybe increase the child care base.
I guess that's where that came from, is I cut a few others and then
Okay.
added it back to them.
Okay. So, okay. Let me just go down and make sure we're on the same page of what their actuals and their requests are. So, so the 4-H extension I just mentioned, Gallatin Senior Citizens, they were at $14,000, they requested $16,500. I've got $14,000, but we'll go back. Portland, they were at, I'm going to say 10. They're requesting 10. I'm currently showing 10. Westmoreland.
What about Hendersonville?
Hendersonville, 16,000. They requested 16. By the way, I did text Julie. She said, Julie White from Hendersonville Senior Citizens. She says the city of Hendersonville gives them $15,000. I think that was a question earlier about how much. Anyway, so we talking about Westmoreland. I believe they didn't show up today. They were at zero. They requested $5,500. Again, just for people's memory here and for the video, Westmoreland and White Houses, those senior citizens fall within those city government departments, which is different than the other senior citizen centers. So those Westmoreland and White House are treated differently in that sense. White House was at $2,500. Last year they requested $9,500. We gave them $2,500. Their request is back up to the $9,500. I have down here at $2,500 for now. Decision choices and options. They were at 8,500, they requested 10,000, so 1,500 more. Homestead immediately prior year, they requested 3,000. I've got written down here, 2,500 as the initial startup, even though they were in the past, but they essentially are new now. Mid-Cumberland, Meals on Wheels, that's the one where they already got 5,000 in the budget. They're asking for a total of 10. I personally think that, if we give them, we probably just need to cap that at 7,500.
She said though that she should have put $5,000 on this form because she already got 5,000. So her real ask from us is actually 5,000.
That's correct.
Correct, from the, and that 5 got moved over to here,
The additional 5.
to the additional 5.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think
So-
she's asking for 5,000 from
Yes.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct, yeah. 5,000 is her request.
Mhm.
My comment is that if we consider some, that it would be capped at that 2,500 increase.
For a total of 7,500,
Correct.
the other 5,000, got it.
Yeah, 5 plus
Got it.
25.
Another 75.
Yeah,
Correct.
I thought you meant
Correct.
another
That's what I thought you
7,500.
meant too.
Do you
I'm
think, so you're saying only give them 2,500 out of this one?
Yeah, that's for right now. I'm just going through,
Okay.
and then we'll come back. Recovery court, they were actually, those actuals were 5,000, they requested 7,500. So they're requesting that increase. Salvage Center, actuals were 5,000, they're requesting the same 5. Grace Place, actuals were 5,000, they've requested the same 5. Cumberland Crisis, actuals were 85, they're requesting the same 85. Community Life Bridge is a brand new, so they've requested the 2,500 minimum, or I guess max for our policies, and then Mount Haven's separate. So,
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes,
I don't think everybody has in their minds their slate. I think we ought to go I think it'll be a lot faster really if we just go and we're all in agreement with this one, and if we'd have to stop and talk about it,
Yeah.
and someone keep up with a running total so we can see where we
so
are.
I will keep up with the running total. So I'm going to go down, I'll go down the list, so I like that suggestion, and then we'll see where we are at the end, and we make more adjustments after that. So, community child care service, my recommendation, I'll make a motion to keep them at the same $5,000.
I'll second
So we have this, a motion and a
that.
second.
And that's
You wanna
just
make
for
a-
now.
Do you want to make a motion at the
Is
very
this final?
end? or-
I'm going to make a motion at the very end for a group,
Yeah.
a group and approve.
This is a tentative. This motion's tentative.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
just
yeah.
going through to see where we are.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, so, I'll remove our, suspension of the rules, so we'll now more officially or formal. So there's been a motion and a second for 5,000. Any discussion on that?
Wait, tell me why we're doing this each time and then going back and doing it at the end? Can we not
Because-
just do one at the end?
Because each one of us has a sort of a slate of
No,
our
I
own.
get that. I'm saying, why are we having to do a
So-
motion each time?
Yeah.
So my thinking is, if we do a motion each time, it may end up being over the 102.5, or over the 105.
Right, so why don't we just wait and do a motion at the end once we get it all balanced and then say, hey, I approve what?
I mean, that's essentially what we're doing. I mean,
I'm just trying to speed it up.
yeah.
And I think that's what you were trying to allude to.
And that's
It
fine,
would,
that's
yeah,
fine.
it would make more sense instead of doing a motion on each one.
Okay, so we won't do a motion, but we're essentially going to do,
Okay.
we'll discuss each one, so I'll go back and suspend the rules so we can do all that stuff. So, okay, discuss, or whatever, on community child care service and the 5,000, anybody have different opinions? Okay, so let me mark that one.
Let me show you the block again.
Yeah, I'll lock it in. All right, so, Gallatin Daycare, there was $5,000, this was my recommendation. Anyone have any different opinion on that?
I would like to give them some of that extra money. When we cut some of these other ones.
Okay, so like, you're okay with 5 now and maybe come back in later?
A minimum of 5, but then once we get our.
I mean, this is hard for me. I would really like to advocate for that all 3 of these get 7,500 because I feel like we're going to cut from some of these other ones.
When you say all 3 of this, what's the third one?
The childcare,
Childcare,
CASA, yeah, community childcare, Gallatin daycare, and Sumner County CASA.
So your top 3 go to 75?
I mean, it's going to be dependent on where we align with the other ones, like you said, but I have some serious concerns with other ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
And 5,000 was each of their.
Yeah, none of them
first 3
asked
asks
for an
anyway.
increase,
Right.
yeah.
So what,
I'm in favor of 5,000 because it's a worthy program, but that's what they asked for, and they know better than anybody what they want.
I would venture to say that they asked for that to try to stay,
To keep getting it?
yeah.
Mhm.
Knowing Amy like I do, she's not one to, she would rather go conservative and get something than stretch and get knocked down.
If we do that, though, we would be going to each one of these, and unfortunately,
yeah, let's go down and let's identify, when we get down to ones we maybe want to cut, then that'll identify what we're working on, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Gallatin, or 4-H.
so the 4-H, anyone have any problems with the 2,500?
No.
Okay. Gallatin Senior Citizens, anyone have any problem with maintaining the 14,000? They requested 16,500.
Yes, I'm personally not comfortable allotting them such a large amount when it's going primarily to her salary and there's concerns about operations.
Okay. What would be your recommended amount then? So the actual this year was 14,000, they've requested 16,500. What do you have in mind?
Can I make a proposed, if we look at what we give Hendersonville and how many citizens are serving, the percentage per citizen we're giving them, the allotted amount, so if it's $2 a person, then we give her $2 times however many people she's serving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be the way to look at it.
I think another thing, she said that a lot of this additional request was for a cook, but then we've also got this Meals on Wheels.
There's no way she's finding a cook for $2,500.
Well, and then she said she wasn't sure about finding the cook, so it's like she didn't have a game plan in place.
It just seemed like a double dip.
Yeah.
And
That's going to go to her salary.
that stuck out to me as well. We've got almost the same request for a third or fourth of Hendersonville.
Can we find that page where it talks about, mine got a little out of line.
So I've got a calculator. So Hendersonville's,
Hendersonville and,
yeah. So Hendersonville's is, if I understand you right.
so that you would do the 16, what is she requesting from Hendersonville?
Yeah,
16,000 divided by the 1430.
Okay, hold on. There's Gallatin,
Yeah.
for Hendersonville,
It's $11.18.
So $11.18 per person.
times 360 then.
Is that what she's
Or what
serving?
is Gallatin?
Gallatin
said
says she
360.
serves 360, so.
It's just it would be,
What'd you
My
say,
proposed.
1118?
It'd be fair.
Be $4,024.
Right.
All the way across the board.
like, it's a very diplomatic way to,
Mhm.
So, 4,000.
Well, yeah, again, we're just in discussions here,
Yeah.
but yeah, that would be basically 4,000, a little over $4,000. 40,
could we say, you don't want to destroy a program, even though I wonder if they're serving, I mean, could we say 12,000 there instead of 14,000?
I would hate to cut it under 10.
I think.
Oh, gosh, that's a pretty,
I think 10 is,
I totally, I mean, you and I have had discussions
I know.
about it, like, if you cut $10,000 off, that's a huge deal when you're dealing with a total.
Could we try 12 and see where we are?
Yeah, so I mean, let's do that.
Okay, so I'm gonna type in 12 temporarily on that. Okay, all right, so that's that. Hendersonville senior citizens, any differing opinion from the 16,000?
no.
All right, Portland senior citizens. Portland senior citizens, any differing opinion from 10,000?
I think that would be in line based on citizen served between Gallatin and Portland.
So how many is it, Portland?
267.
And Gallatin's 360.
I mean, it's interesting, they're actually, oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, that building space.
Okay.
So are we saying 10, is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
So just for comparison purposes, what did we say per
$11.18.
1118 times, what's Portland's number?
267.
So that's about $3,000, but again, in comparison to what we did at Gallatin. So we want to keep, for right now, keep Portland at 10, is that what?
Either 10 or 9,500 gives them somewhat of an increase, but, because that's if there was a comparison made, then the numbers don't quite
Yeah.
jive.
I mean,
Yeah, but I mean,
either way,
also, if then Henderson went by the numbers, Hendersonville would get, I mean, they'd be getting gated in it, if that makes sense.
Also have, I feel like it's heard saying one of those, but you've got a Gallatin director making, salary is making a large part of their budget, and Portland, I mean, they've only got one employee, and he's making 15 grand.
And she's one employee making 50 something.
Yeah.
That's my issue.
Between
Yeah,
15 and
mine
50.
too.
Yes.
Yeah, Portland is making 15, and Gallatin's 50. So, I mean, the overall is pretty
Oh,
stark.
wow.
That's that's where my concern stems from.
Well, let's stay at 10 and just see what,
Okay, I'll mark that.
shakes out.
Okay. All right. Westmoreland, they were at 0, they requested 5,500. They didn't show up today.
I'm recommending 0. There's no supporting documentation of what the $5,500 would go to.
And again, that they are a member, an entity of their city of Westmoreland.
Yeah.
So 0 on that one?
Yep.
Okay. All right, White House, that is, they requested, last year, requested 95, we gave them 25. Their request again is 95. Anybody have a different opinion of maintaining the 25?
I think 25 is fair for that.
Are they not also, like
Really,
Westmoreland as far as,
2,500.
Yeah, they are.
They're part of the city.
so why would we treat them any different than
Well,
Westmoreland?
I was just getting ready to say,
Just
I think
wondering
we ought to
about-
consider 2,500 for Westmoreland, really.
My only concern with Westmoreland is there wasn't like supporting, like White House at least can show where their revenue was being spent. We don't know anything about.
Well, we could probably look online and look up the budget since they're part of the city.
I mean, I guess if you look at it from like a fairness standpoint, if we're supporting one senior citizen, we should do them all to some extent.
Could we just hold in abeyance so Westmoreland don't think that we've just not even considered them? Could we
Sure.
hold it in abeyance for them to make some kind of presentation later? For right now, 0 until, because they didn't come and we don't know.
That was my thing, I mean, I was a little put off that nobody even showed up.
And I hate to say it that way, but it's kind of like, golly, Just show up, just show up.
I mean, the supporting information, the center did not request funds in the past due to a lack of attendance and activity during the last 3 years. We're now requesting funding as we are seeing a resurgence in activity, but again, I would be maybe in favor of like 1,000.
I like that.
You know, sort of,
Give them something.
you give them something, and again, there's no supporting documentation, they didn't show up.
They didn't provide number of citizens served or anything, any sort of,
Full-time employees, 0, part-time, 0.
yes, the
I
rest of
don't know what
the
that
funding
is.
going,
Yeah.
that was like,
I like the $1,000.
So let's put $1,000 for now. Okay, so just to go back, I put 1,000, right now, 1,000 for Westmoreland, 2,500 for White House, 12,000 for Gallatin, 10,000 for Portland, 16,000 for Henderson. Okay, all right, so that's for right now at least. All right, decisions, choices, and options. They were at 8,500, they requested 10. Anyone have any recommendation on that one? Everyone good with the 10?
That's somebody I'd like to.
Yeah, I'd like to bump them up if
If
possible.
possible, I don't know if you want to just put a,
make them.
I'll put it in yellow.
put a pin in it.
For here. Okay. All right, we'll come back. Home safe, this is, they were at 0, they've asked for 3,000. I've got them listed here for 25, which falls in line with our policy, or recommendations.
I've got it for less than that.
Okay, what do you have?
That's 1,500 to 1,000. Here's my problem with that. They
Mhm.
are the ones that got 85% of their budget from Sumner County sources, but only service 34%.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was.
And then when you ask about any of their funding, it was, we missed that deadline, we missed that deadline, we missed that deadline.
Well,
The
in
other-
her
And
defense,
she was also pretty new.
yeah.
Which I'm not, I don't
I
think
will
she
say,
missed it.
in her defense, like, they have had, I know of at least 3 directors, so it may have been, that's why.
Which may be the
Those were
case,
missed,
and I
but
think it's a
I'm
worthy cause, but that, to me, that, like,
Yeah.
from a completely heartless standpoint, that says there's a lot going on internally, that
Yeah.
I don't want my money to go.
Oh, no, I agree.
Like, I'm not trying to argue with them, saying,
That may be
that's a lot of
on board.
mine.
Yeah, no, I was just saying.
I don't want to throw good money after bad.
So what's your recommendation then?
1,500,
1,500?
give them something, but.
Everyone okay with 15? 15, all right.
This is Mid-Cumberland, I mean, home safe.
Home safe.
That's home safe. Okay. Mid-Cumberland, that is the Mills and Wills.
So we said the 2,500.
Yeah, so that would be my comment as a max from this committee at 2,500. Everyone good with 2,500?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. All right. Recovery court, they were at 5,000, they requested 7,500. Anyone have any thoughts there?
I have them at 5,000.
Okay.
And a lot of that is that opioid money. And I know when I had a conversation with Judge Blanton, he said it was different, but when you look through the financials and the way he talked, it seemed like it was going to be a lot of commingling. And I know there's millions of dollars coming in for that opioid stuff.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think it's just,
Okay, so leave at 5,000? Everyone good with that?
Mhm.
All right. Okay. Salvage Center, this is, where are they on my?
I hate to say it, but my recommendation is 0 solely based on the timing of the merger and not having any sort of insight into who they're merging with at this time.
Oh, yeah, that's the, what's the name of that
Holy
company?
Health Neighborhood.
Because by the time the check's cut, it'll be done, the merger will happen.
Neighborhood Health, yeah.
I mean, that's just me.
Yeah, I kind of go back and forth.
This is
Just like
like
the
a
research
timing.
going on, like,
Yeah.
I see what Jennifer did say, like, we need to provide some sort of funding and not let outside counties carry us, which I totally understand, and that's the discussion we just had about home safe. I don't know if 0 is the right number, but I don't know if 5,000 is the right number either.
So can we treat?
I wouldn't want to cut them to 0.
Can we treat them as a new one and do 2,500? And they would
They are
be,
a
the
new
neighborhood part would be
Technically,
new.
they are new, yeah.
I mean, there's logic in that for sure.
Because the merger will go
The new
through
company.
before the funding will
Right.
happen.
Mhm.
So they will essentially be a new organization.
Mhm. And just because we don't have insight into that organization, it makes me a little leery that we're giving funds while we're unfamiliar with the organization. That's just where I stand on it. Because they have 11 clinics, but only one's actually in our county. The majority of their business is outside of the county.
Because they said 10 when they,
Mhm.
Is that one where, 1 to 11?
11.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the financial sheet they provided was strictly Sumner County,
it's what they said.
but,
But that
But
budget,
that budget ends at the year.
mhm, as of December.
so do we want to mark it at 2,500 then? Anyone have any?
I think it's
Okay, so I'll change that to 2,500. All right, what about Grace Place Ministry?
Oh, boy.
That was at 5,000.
For the next two, I have a really hard time giving them funding as successful as they are, given the need from these other organizations. $5,000 or $8,500 is pennies to them in comparison to these daycares and even other places where if we reallocated and gave them more, it would substantially change their ability to operate. I mean, they have $1 million in cash.
Yeah, one of them had
Like,
2.2 million in cash.
they're
That's right.
the one's $3 million. I mean, that's,
With the house and the land.
they're never even gonna notice.
Are you advocating to cut to 0 or just?
I would hate for it to come across that as a county we're not supportive, because I'm 100% supportive of their mission. I feel like though, again, I come back to, I'm here today to serve the citizens that are in the greatest need. And while they have a need, they are financially stable and can meet that need internally without our assistance. Where there's these other ones that really struggle without
we could
additional
be in
support.
agreement to $1,000 less and just see where we are with a total.
For $1,000,
Or
or are we talking about Grace Place right now?
each.
Each, and Cumberland Crisis, I would say 1,000 each for those.
Are you saying $1,000 less than
I'm
the
saying
request?
$1,000 less is what I'm saying, because they are doing a great service for the county, and
They also have a lot of money.
they do.
$3 million, I mean,
We're
we're,
trying to allocate money for,
Well, that's why I said, well, could we say,
And then start adding up,
and just
see
see
where we're
what we
at.
have, if we took $1,000 off each one of them.
I'm respectful of your opinion. I'm more in line with giving them $1,000, giving some of these others a significant one-time increase, however we want to word it, based solely on financial need.
and who they're serving.
So maybe I make it, throw out a suggestion as, both of these places 2 years ago were at 2,500. So maybe for right now, move them both back to 2,500, which is sort of a compromise in between and what we're talking about. So just for right now, change both to 2,500?
See where we are.
I'm okay with that.
So for right now, I moved Grace Place to 2,500, which was, they requested 5,000, I got 2,500, and then Cumberland Price's Pregnancy, again, Price's Pregnancy, 2 years ago it was 2,500. Last year, we bumped them up to 8,500. So right now, I'm moving them back to 2,500 because of their, what we just talked about, cash on hand type stuff. Okay. Community Life Bridge, that is a brand new. They requested 2,500. Anyone have any recommendation there?
Yes, I have a question.
I do like that they service all of Sumner County.
They do.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, the Galvin daycare, is obviously just Galvin, or Salvage is mainly, Galvin area, or these senior citizen center are very specific. So it was nice to hear Hollow Ridge.
My confusion lies in their budget itself. They basically manage 7 rides a day, and it takes a staff of 3 at almost $200,000. And mine seems like some misappropriation of time and funds. Personally, that's just the logic where I come from. I do think they're doing a good service. Good service as a whole.
Yeah, I think the service they provide is a needed service.
It's really
It's really needed. I think that it would be nice if we could audit some of them as far as how funds are being appropriated. And that's a whole different thing. So I'm good with the 2,500.
Is there a requirement, by the way, this is a question, of that these ministries/organizations are audited financially before they come here? It's not a requirement?
Is there anything
Yeah, they
Yes,
have.
they have one of 2 requirements. If they are audited, they're required to provide it to us. If they are not audited, their chief financial officer has to certify them to the state comptroller's office.
Okay.
But the auditing isn't show a rating per se.
They're also required to provide us their filing each year, which doesn't give a lot of detail, but it does give some. This one is on it. Check it out.
Right. I think they're all.
Yeah, I think she mentioned it. So right now, I mean, I understand your point for sure. 7 rides a day and
3 staff at almost $200,000 salary.
yeah. I don't know. I hear you.
That's just salaries?
You know what, I'll do all 7 for just $191,000.
This is true. So,
I can confirm, she confirms my pay, there's no comment
on the
travel.
travel, okay. We're almost to that, well, hopefully we're almost to it. So for Community Life Bridge, what are we
Really
saying?
good.
You what, 2,500 right now?
Yeah, reluctantly.
Okay.
Also an applause.
I mean, I'm okay with, I'd be okay with putting them at, I had 1,500 in there.
It's not bad.
You know, it gives them money,
That's right.
you know, they requested, 25, the full 2,500. Y'all want to say 15?
Yeah, I like it. Let's do that.
With them? All right. So 1,500 for them. So right now, that's everybody on the list. Again, Mont Haven's a different topic. So everyone we've talked about, I've highlighted 3 in yellow as to, excuse me. No, let me see here. I'm thinking about mine. I think are there, right now, we're at $87,000. Okay. So the numbers that I've put in there, we're at $87,000. Again, we do not have to spend the full 105, but we do have the ability to recommend up to the 105. So are there any of these that someone would like to advocate to raise these amounts? So before we do it, let me go and make sure we all wrote down the same numbers, okay? All right. Community child care, 5,000. Gallatin daycare, 5,000. CASA, 5,000. UT Extension 4H, 2,500. Gallatin Senior Citizens, 12,000. Hendersonville Senior Citizens, 16,000. Portland Senior Citizens, 10,000. Westmoreland Senior Citizens, 1,000. White House Senior Citizens, 2,500. Decision Choice Options, 10,000. Home Safe, 1,500. Mid-Cumberland Meals on Wheels, 2,500. Recovery Court, 5,000. Salvage Center, 2,500. Grace Place, 2,500. Cumberland Crisis, 2,500. Community Life Bridge, 1,500. Okay. So, anyone want to advocate raising any of the numbers I just mentioned?
I would advocate to raise, firstly, the community child care, Gallatin daycare, and Sumner County costs all by $2,500. I mean, even if you just look at it from like a numbers perspective, if Gallatin and Portland are serving roughly 200 and something people throughout the month, right? That's not every day. Meanwhile, the child care centers are serving 100 and something people every day.
Okay, so you're saying, what you're suggesting is community child care services, Gallatin daycare, and Sumner County CASA,
I'll get
All
something
7,500.
each of those increased by 2,500. Mr. Hyde, you want?
I'm not for that, but I'll go along with what
Okay.
everybody said.
Are you,
I just
any of the
feel
three,
like
or just one of the three?
I'll go along with all of them, if that's what the group says, but my only problem with it is they're all really worthy organizations, but I just feel like it might be a bad precedent to start where we add more thinking, but whatever the group votes to do.
I agree to your point. The committee did choose to do that last year with decision choices and options and Cumberland Crisis Pregnancy. I think, to Mr. Hyde's point, is Cumberland Crisis Pregnancy, we've probably since realized that they didn't need it. So we gave them the money and they need the money. So I understand and I agree with his point of, if they're not asking for it, we don't necessarily need to assume that they would need it.
they obviously need it. I see what you're saying though, but last year when I was here, we asked some of them specifically if they were aware that they could ask for a $2,500 increase, and a lot of them said no. And I understand the paperwork probably states that, right? But I think if one thing was clear today, there are some of them that are passionate and maybe don't have a business background, and there's some that are passionate and also have a business background. So I think it's a disservice to them that they're not as well in the know to...
And those daycares, they could do more, have more kids. If they have the money, they don't have it.
They're not expanding because of funds.
Yeah.
These people have the funds and are not expanding.
Could we consider the fact that what we could do if I like the list we went through with, I've been surprised it was that low, but what we could always do is go back and help people during the year. If they were to come and say, hey, we're in a real tough spot, we need $5,000 more or $2,000 more.
I would bet you the whole $100,000, if you asked any of those three, they would say that right now.
Yeah, no, my preference is to, have this be a one-time thing versus opening up the door of them coming, back throughout the year, because then that it just opens it up for not only these folks, but, other people to come out of cycle, I guess. So my preference would be to agree upon a certain number and just go with that number. So,
If we add the 7,500 extra, it's 94.5, so I mean, we're still well under.
no, I understand that.
I was going to recommend the boost on one of the other ones.
Let me
Got that down.
let me update this.
I'd be willing to split them 5,500 between after that, I think that we should consider DCO and honestly, probably Hendersonville senior citizens. They're serving a big.
Serving a bunch of people.
We'll come back to those. Which ones were you wanting to
So
talk about?
I was wanting to advocate for DCO.
Okay.
I mean, I would, I think 5,000 would be, since we're already giving Hendersonville 16,000, I would add another 5,000 to DCO. But that's just because of what all they're doing, and
They're also servicing the whole county.
they're servicing the whole county. Really huge work that they're doing. I would give the whole 100,000 to them, probably.
So they were at 8,500. They've requested 10,000, and so you're wanting us to consider 15,000? Okay.
I thought it was also pretty telling of the heart of the ministry when they walk away from a $100,000 grant just because of the whole gender fluidity.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
that's a big step of faith.
That's just ethics, in their
Yeah.
mind,
Yeah.
For us,
Like you said, that's cut a quarter of their budget.
Yeah, that's a big,
Quarter of their budget.
I know, me personally, I mean, I don't want to get political and all that, but, I mean, that's obviously something that hinders stuff. And if I have the chance to step in and say, hey, like, I appreciate the morals that you have, I'm going to do
that was a big stand for them to take.
Mr. Hyde, any comments on 15,000?
Yeah, because that's one of the best organizations. I made the comment.
Yeah.
I agree.
But I would rather see it go back to what they ask for rather than, I just have this basic thing that I'm dealing with on giving people more than what they ask for. But, again, if that's what the group thinks, that's certainly a very, very worthy organization.
So, would you want to consider let's just say 2,500 more or the 5,000? So for this specific one, we have the funding. So maybe for this specific one, let's go back into the rules here. So there's a motion for 15,000. Is there a second?
Yes.
So a second by Tiffany on the 15,000. Any further discussion on 15,000? Okay, so all in favor on the 15,000 for DCO, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right, so that one passes at 15,000.
Is it to his note though, Justin had it, I don't know if it's you, who sends the check, can we include a note that we had an overall amount, we divided amongst the ones that submitted, it's not necessarily a guarantee moving forward that you would receive that amount? Can we
I feel like that should be understood from them. I can send them an email if that's what you would like to do.
I just think it'd be helpful to be included, like, this decision was made solely on funds available based on those.
Don't get used to it.
Yeah,
It's not guaranteed to get anything.
yeah, you're not
Yeah.
guaranteed year to year.
Yeah, I think they,
Pull together some more of that quarter funding
But yeah,
overall,
And the
so
only,
they come
and the
back
only
next
reason
year
I
and
do that is
say,
because I think it's just, transparency is always good, but also, there seems to be a lot of turnover, and maybe they're not familiar with it from year to year.
you mean
Which one?
DCO?
No, like the directors and the people that are coming here, they're new.
No, some of them have been
The
there. A lot of
DCOs
DCOs
are
saying.
there.
I don't mean DCO specifically,
Yeah.
I mean just as a whole, we encounter
Oh,
quite a few
yeah.
new
Yeah, that's for
people.
sure.
So just to be
Yeah.
transparent, so they know in the future.
Yeah, that's true.
So, any other ones you'd like to talk about right now?
No, I think.
Brandon, what about you? Any other?
Good.
Dylan, any others? Tiffany, what, you as a senior at Hendersonville?
Well, I was just gonna do the difference, so, which
We got
now is only
$500
$500, but bump them to 16,500 then.
Well, my numbers, we have 5,500.
Well, that,
Of the 105, we've got 55.
oh, I forgot it's 105, I'm
Yeah, yeah,
sorry.
yeah. Now, again, we don't have to use it, I'm just saying that it's, what would be your thought there?
For Hendersonville?
Yeah, we have them at 16 right now.
What was their request? 16?
16.
Okay.
That's what, if they've been flat at 16 for the past several years. I mean, they
You're right,
do
they are
provide
serving
a
one
tremendous,
city versus an entire county, but I do think some sort of increase is warranted because they seem to be more impactful.
yeah, they do provide a whole lot. Now, and again, you know, the numbers that they provide, you know, I don't know if there's apples to apples. It says 1430, other ones say, you know, a lot lower. But
And that's kind of where I stand
Yeah.
with the whole, like, not auditing of numbers, but auditing of operations.
Yeah, the 16,000 is 12.71% of their overall budget, percent.
And that's what I'm saying, like, if we're significantly funding the senior citizen program.
Yeah.
Which I'm not supportive of, but
So, do you want
I
to
would,
discuss, or do you want to make a motion on, and
I mean, I'm
changing
comfortable with
this?
where it is. It was just a thought, if we are going to allocate all of it, I mean, we have some additional funds to do so, or
My preference would,
somebody might have a
Yeah.
recommendation.
my preference was, I don't want to allocate all of it if we don't feel it's needed, but I think to me, comparing the senior citizens centers and what they do and what they provide and how many citizens I think Hendersonville is sort of more underfunded than the other ones are. And so I would be okay to entertain an idea of bumping the 16 up to, 18. But just throwing that out there as an idea.
I'll play devil's advocate for a minute.
Okay.
That if you break these down into senior citizens versus non, you've got a pretty significant chunk. I mean, right now you've got 45,000 of your 100,000 going to senior citizens specific programs, whether it's
Right.
Hendersonville, Portland, Gallatin, White House, Westmoreland. And then I also included Community Life Bridge and Meals on Wheels.
This was my struggle last year with this committee.
So I mean,
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is, I'm fully aware I'm the youngest person in the room, and I think that's a worthy cause. It just seems very senior heavy. And then you're going to get into specific, like, I think they're doing a great job. I mean, I've never been to Hendersonville Senior Citizen Center. I would be more of a proponent of it. If we've got extra money, give it to Meals on Wheels that's covering the entire county versus one city. When you've already got such a stark difference of senior versus other programs. I mean, that's 6 programs out of 17.
I think in general, our senior citizens are, I think they just happen to be the demographic that have the services that really need this.
That's right.
Have the most need.
Yeah, they have the most need. And so I think it probably makes sense that it's sort of leaning heavy that way.
Top there,
But-
that way.
But I'm not going to advocate for 18,000 if no one else is in agreement. So unless someone's in agreement with that, I'm good with leaving it at 16.
I'm in agreement with 18,
Okay.
yeah.
So let's just put this one to a vote. So I made a motion for 18. So they're at 16. I made a motion for Hendersonville senior citizens at 18,000. Mike seconded. Any other discussion on that? All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
No, sorry.
Okay, so we got 3-3, so that 3-3 fails to carry. Okay.
Did you do the first three, did you increase them to 7,500? Was y'all doing that for sure?
Yeah.
You never said for sure, okay.
Yeah, for right now. Okay. So, any other ones that anyone wants to discuss? Okay. So then what I'm going to do, I'm going to read through these numbers again, and then we'll make one motion for all of them.
I forgot.
Okay.
Since we do have extra money, are we good with the 7,500 or go back up to the 2,500? Or
Which
we want
one?
to go up to the 5,000 on Meals on Wheels?
Mid-Cumberland.
Mid-Cumberland.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, because, they requested the 5.
No, that was one we cut,
Yeah.
but since
We
now we
we
have.
cut it to 25 for our guidelines, but we can change that. I'm okay with changing that to 10.
The 5, you mean?
5, I'm sorry.
I think Meals on Wheels is a good program, but did anyone else get the feeling that Mid-Cumberland was so big that it didn't matter what we did, they were gonna do the Meals on Wheels? I mean,
Yep.
that's just the feeling I got from that
What
lady.
did you say, there was like 60, how much did you say? Like, it was a
So
bunch.
many thousands of meals, it is
Oh, it was like 80,000 or something.
Yeah, they do,
One.
they got a lot of programs running too.
And they got, and they're all full. Every program is full like that.
Yeah, but they're really large.
They're all,
Yeah.
not all full.
Yeah.
What do you mean they're
So let's bring this in real quick, because we got Monhaven might be a good discussion here. So, do we need to vote on which one we say?
Meals on Wheels.
Meals on Wheels. Right now, we got it at 2,500.
I'm okay either way, I just wanted to bring it up for discussion.
I think I would be in favor of just leaving it at 2,500, because
Okay.
they've already got 5.
Yeah.
So that gives them 7,500.
I'm good with it.
Okay. Any other ones to discuss? Okay, I'm going to read through them real quick, and then we'll vote on them as a whole. All right. Community Child Care Service, 7,500. Gallatin Daycare, 7,500. Sumner County CASA, 7,500. UT 4-H, 2,500. Gallatin Seniors, 12,000. Hendersonville Seniors, 16,000. Portland Seniors, 10,000. Westmoreland Seniors, 1,000. White House Seniors, 2,500. Decision Choices and Options, 15,000. Home Safe, 1,500. Mid-Cumberland Meals and Wheels, 2,500. Recovery Court, 5,000. Salvus Center, 2,500. Grace Place, 2,500. Cumberland Crisis, 2,500. Community Life Bridge, 1,500. So that is a total of 99,500. So I'll make a motion as it is described for that 99,500. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Brian. Any other discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? So that passes unanimous. Okay. So now we need to talk about the Mont Haven request. I may ask Mr. Hyde to, maybe you want to provide some...
I'd like to split the baby on this.
In what sense?
This was thrown in our laps, and the general policy of this committee is a $2,500 startup. And if we don't follow our rules on this one, it's gonna get nasty. And I would just like to suggest that we give them $2,500. They told us they were gonna do their program.
Exactly right. She was adamant about it.
Yeah, she was like, I'll take your money.
500 even, but I would say 2,500 and send the rest of the money back to the budget committee. That's my motion.
Okay, so let me, I know this is outside, so are you suggesting, Mr. Hyde, to use 2,500 of the tribal grant or 2,500 of our 105?
Suggest the budget that they give them 2,500 as any other charitable organization would
So
pay,
not the grant.
and not the, you know.
Okay, so then that 2,500 would fall into the 105?
Can I ask a question?
Hold on one second. So everybody on the same page there?
Which we're still under.
Yeah, so we're still under 105. So I think the motion here is to give Mont Haven 2,500 of the 105. So then that would be, it would put it at 102,000 total, still underneath our 105. So that's the motion, Mr. Long.
Their requested budget, what they mentioned in their board discussion, is the one-time request for compensation.
It's true.
Yeah, they
So
did.
you may want to make the 2,500 my call.
I'll include that in my motion, that'd be a one-time 20,000.
Okay.
Don't mean they can't re-request, but that was their request.
Would you, and I'm just, for discussion, would you, since it is a one-time, do you want to limit it to 2,500 or consider an amount greater than 2,500?
No, 2,500.
Okay, so the motion is a one-time 2,500 within the total 105. Okay, is there a second? That's for Mr. Hyde. Is there a second? Okay, second by Mr. Webster. Any other discussion on that?
I think I have a question.
Okay.
So I don't want to prolong it, but I think I'm thinking that if this was going to come out of the 105,
Mhm.
and this was going to be something that was this other allocation of this tribal grant or whatever it was,
Mhm.
we're taking 2,500 from potentially giving it to some of these other organizations.
Mhm. So
That
here's,
kind of just hits me a little sideways, I think, and I'm not
So-
really sure.
That's all they can
so
get.
so 105,
But-
yeah. So we had 105.
Right.
We, not because of Mont Haven, we went through that process and
Right,
didn't,
yeah.
and we had extra. We didn't allocate it all. So we had extra, and so the motion here is to give them 2,500 of that extra as a one-time. It doesn't steal, if you want to call it, steal any of that money from these other nonprofits, because
Right.
we decided that
And
independently.
Right.
They still submitted and went through the same process as all the other ones did.
For that money, but not for the 40,000 that was.
So 40,000 is separate. So that tribal grant, if we approve this, that tribal grant money, whatever's remaining, can be spent, the budget committee can determine what they want to spend it on.
Whatever county needs.
Yeah, whatever county needs.
It's just like the 2,500 you don't spend, if they end up in the same pot.
Yeah.
Okay, so it really doesn't matter either way.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just,
Yeah.
Even they don't make it more strict. Tribal money is basically revenue replacement.
right.
For what it's
So-
worth, I don't advocate for giving $40,000 from the other fund to them either, but that's not our decision.
Well, no, the budget committee, they're not going to consider that because we're not recommending it.
Okay.
Okay.
So they were looking for us to provide that
So do we need
recommendation.
to say formally that we do not recommend it?
That's what this is, we're not sending them the $40,000
That's
recommendation.
basically what we're saying.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, I
Okay,
understand.
so there's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? So that's unanimous. Just real quick, thank you all very, very much. I know everyone here has busy calendars. It's been a long day. It's almost 4 o'clock. But definitely appreciate y'all's time and thoughtfulness, consideration here. It's very meaningful. Jessica, I would like to, when we get through this and it gets formally approved, to send letters to everybody, and I've got, let's give them some form letters from last year, and I'd like to send those out for the ones that got it and ones that didn't get it. Other than that,
You mean send letters to
each
the
of the,
actual organizations?
Correct.
You want me to, are you talking about in an email form or an actual mailed letter?
I've got it for me. I'll work with you on that.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And then I also want, while it's fresh in our minds, whether we're on the committee or not next year, is there any, do we want to ask or request next year that they provide?
Oh, yes, I want a balance sheet from the year before.
Yeah.
I would like that.
So whether or not we, let's spend a minute right now. So So, and Jessica, if you can capture this. So what else do we want
I do
for
think
next year?
just a sheet where what they asked for last year, what we gave them, what they're requesting this year, just like an Excel spreadsheet. I know you have it on your computer, but just so we all can see it, because we all
I mean, I
calculate.
can
What if
provide
they
that,
do?
I can type up
Right.
something.
Yeah.
What they do with the money?
And then from them, I want their balance sheet from the previous, like their detailed balance sheet. Not, the projected budget for the next year is relevant to me.
Yes.
I can.
You mean a detailed balance sheet for the year before?
Basically, how do you spend your money?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Their P and L plus.
What are you actually
Yeah.
taking in?
yeah, okay.
And if they have a line for $72,000 about it,
Yeah,
I'm gonna ask a lot.
Yeah.
So- So it's real quick, just to maintain order and get us out of here. If there's any other items that you know, go ahead and tell us right now. If you think of something, let's go ahead and email us, email Jessica, she'll document it, so that next year we've got an improved and better process.
Thank you, Jerry.
Not that
Anything
you have
else?
a bad process.
No. All right. Motion adjourned. Let's go.
Thank
Let's roll.
you.